And if everybody could turn their cameras off except for Tali and Chris.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. We're going to get started shortly while we wait for everyone to join. Hi, everyone. Welcome. We're just waiting for people to finish joining, and we'll get started shortly. Hello, everyone. Congratulations again on your admittance to Chicago booth, and welcome to today's first day event, Entrepreneurship and Social Impact at Booth, presented by the Polsky Center for Entrepreneurship and the Rustandy Center for Social Sector Innovation. We will kick off the event with the Polsky Center for Entrepreneurship. For the next 30 minutes or so, you'll hear about Chicago's vibrant startup community, the New Venture Challenge, accelerator programs, and opportunities for those interested in careers in private equity or venture capital. The Rustandy Center for Social Impact will follow. You will learn how the Rustandy Center for Social Sector Innovation introduces you to social impact at Booth, from impact investing to the Social New Venture Challenge to nonprofit board service. To kick things off, it is my pleasure to introduce Tali Griffin, Senior Director of Marketing, Programs, and Partnerships. In her role, Tali leads the center's long-term strategic growth through collaborative partnerships with the university and social sector partners, foundations and corporations, and the center's donor community. Tali, the floor is all yours.
Chris, thank you so much. And a big welcome and congratulations to all of you joining today. The Rustandy Center and the Polsky Center are part of a rich ecosystem at the university dedicated to supporting breakthrough innovations and developing talent to address the greatest challenges and opportunities in society. Our centers joined together for our first day sessions because at Booth, many students' journeys will span the joint and complementary resources and programming that our centers offer. The very short video we're about to show was produced for the Polsky Accelerator, just one example of joint programming between our two centers, and it features students who participated in many of our offerings. We hope that you get a taste for their impact and their excitement for how we can help you during your time at Booth.
How will you serve the world? What do they need that your talent can provide? So the effect you have on others is the most valuable currency there is.
I'm gonna give you guys a 1, 2, 3, and then we'll start.
Hi, I'm Chelsea Patterson.
Hey, I'm Callan.
Hi, I'm Sophie.
Hello, I'm Michael Mayer.
Hi, my name is Ethan Reeder.
And I'm Arjun Venkateswamy. I've been a student at Booth for the last year, and actually entrepreneurship was the reason that I chose to come to Booth as a full-time MBA student. Probably the first important class I'd advise everyone to take is Entrepreneurial Discovery with Professor Tevi.
While at Booth, some of the courses that really helped me to launch this company were Entrepreneurial Finance and Private Equity with Steve Kaplan, which was unto itself probably the first time I took a course and thought, wow, this is the Booth experience.
There are so many courses that you won't be able to go through everyone, and ranking them by priority of what is useful for you in your entrepreneurship stage makes a complete difference.
Professors are amazing. So we have had one of the best coffee chats with Professor Alter, which wasn't actually my professor, but he was a coach in NBC. And these people just know so much, and just sitting down with them to talk, and they are so willing to share their knowledge. It's an amazing, incredible experience, so I fully recommend you take advantage of that.
This is my second time with the Accelerator here at Polsky, and it's been an amazing experience learning from both the coaches, the mentors, and engaging with our team on a daily basis, working through the challenges and trying to really solve the problem of older adult loneliness with our venture. It's been an incredible experience, and we couldn't have asked anything more from the Polsky staff and the Accelerator program overall.
I remember our first interview for the accelerator when I got to know some of the people that would be hosting it. And from that experience onward, it really set the tone for just this entire summer.
Being in a room with 12 other startups.
Kat, I'm going to go ahead and suggest, in the interest of time, I think you all got a great sense of the energy and excitement of our students, and nobody wants to sit through as we try to get the video back on. So let me say this, please send your questions into the Q&A chat throughout today's session. Anything we don't cover, we'll share out our contact information, and we'd be happy to follow up with you with any unanswered questions. And with that, I'll go ahead and turn it over to Dan Sachs, the Executive Director at the Polsky Center. Thank you.
Thanks, Tali. Hello, everybody, and welcome. Congratulations on your acceptance. And I am going to tell you a little bit about the Polsky Center and what we do. We're a large group, 60 people strong. If you move through these slides, you're going to see a lot of what we do at the center and how we interact. Next slide gives you a little picture of some of the members of our team. We're actually a broad-based organization. One of the things that's unique about the Polsky Center, one of the things that really makes being a part of this and engaging with the center special, is that we're actually the engine for innovation and entrepreneurship across the entire university. So unlike most entrepreneurship centers, which may be siloed in a business school or maybe across in technology, if you look at the next slide, you'll see that what we actually span is the entire center, with over 60 people serving you, our student body. And that's really our goal, is to create an environment where you can engage with entrepreneurship in pretty much any way that serves your own interests. And all that happened with a very generous donation from Michael Polsky, who the center's named after. And what it set up was an environment where we have over 4 different acting centers in the next slide. And we see a wide range of people to support our students, including 17 entrepreneurs and investors in residence, 100 Polsky mentors, which are available to help answer any questions you might have. And ultimately, next slide, what you see is a robust array of programs, because as much as we want you to start your own venture or engage in private equity or venture capital or whatever might be your interest, what we really want to do is create an environment where we nurture the entrepreneurial mindset and an entrepreneurial spirit, because we really believe that at the end of the day, your ability to think in an entrepreneurial manner will help you regardless of what you ultimately decide to do. And so the center as a whole is really geared to providing you with the most opportunity to engage in ways that work for you, with a robust staff and lots of resources to help you. In the next slide, there are several elements that I wanted to just spend a moment talking about. One is our classroom work. We have several robust classes, and it says here that we're the most popular concentration at Booth, and that's true. And not everybody is starting a new business, but the idea of engaging in a entrepreneurial journey one way or another while you're at Booth is really important to all of us at the Polsky Center. And on the next slide, we can start talking about what is really important to us, is not just the educational component, but also the experiential component. So it's sort of taking that evidence-based knowledge that we get through the classroom and then applying it in a practical way, a practitioner's experience through the various programming that we offer. On the next slide, one of the examples would be through our private equity and venture capital programming, where we offer such a wide range of opportunities to engage with VC and PE firms throughout the country. We host conferences, seminars, and all geared to prepare you for a career in either of those fields. And not only that, an opportunity just to learn about private equity and venture capital, even if you have no interest in becoming the next great venture capitalist. It's a way to expose you to the field so that you're prepared to engage with them as time goes on. On the next slide, one other area to think about, it might be of interest to you. It's a relatively new field, so we wanted to touch on it, which is entrepreneurship through acquisition. We actually at Booth have an extraordinarily robust program. It's only about 7 years old, but we actually host the largest conference in the country focused on entrepreneurship through acquisition. So it's another area where you might not think of it as a traditional way of thinking about entrepreneurship, but we have extraordinarily interesting and dynamic programming focused on it. And the next slide will tell you about probably what is our marquee program, which is the New Venture Challenge. Certainly a program that we're very proud of. It's our 25th anniversary this year. And this year, the amount of money we will be able to offer to support new ventures will top $1.5 million coming out of the New Venture programming. So that's really exceptional. I think what that tells you is that not only are we providing the programming, but we're providing the resources to help support you on your entrepreneurial journey. And on the next slide, you'll see that what's interesting and dynamic about what we do at Booth is that because we're the engine for entrepreneurship and innovation across the university, we also connect you, to the extent you're interested, to the sciences. And that's very important to us. And on the next slide, you'll see that we offer a variety of programming to help support that. One of them is the Collaboratorium, which is an opportunity for you, if you're interested in science and you are interested in being an entrepreneur, you can pair with an actual startup, maybe in the Pritzker Molecular Engineering School, or across the campus somewhere else, and engage as an entrepreneur in the sciences directly. And so what's great about Polsky is that we span the whole university. So wherever you have an interest and could be in something very obscure, we'll be there to support you. On the next slide, you'll see that we have a wide variety of opportunities for you to get the kind of support you need to make sure that you have the experience that will really take you to the next level. And I think that's what we're here for. The Polsky Center is, we are here to serve you. We're here to take care of Booth students, find the areas that you're interested in, and match those with the programs that we offer to make sure you have the best possible experience. But don't trust me. On the next slide, I'm going to introduce you to one of our students, Matt, and Matt is going to tell you about his experience, and he's going to tell you exactly what it's like to be engaged with the Polsky Center. And take it away, Matt.
Thanks, Dan. My name's Matt Matosian. I'm a second year here at Booth, and I'm one of the co-chairs of the private equity group. So I've been involved in a lot of things that Polsky offers, truly a lot of really good resources for people like myself, and also those looking to get back into or looking to make the transition to private equity. So I spent a couple years in investment banking and then private equity here in Chicago before coming to Booth. So, knew kind of what I was getting into and knew a lot about private equity, was looking to build on my skills. And there's a lot of things that Polsky and Booth offer, through this private equity program, that people like me can really benefit from. I've done everything from, competing in the private equity case competition to, interning during the school year through the private equity lab, side with a firm while learning in the classroom. You know, I've spent a lot of time with the great investors and residences, investors and residents, and just have, you know, been able to build on my my skill set that I had before coming to Booth. And I think Polsky does a really good job of helping people with prior private equity experience, and also those looking to transition into private equity and make a career change. So can't recommend Polsky enough for all the stuff that they provide to students.
That's great, Matt. Thanks so much. We got one more for you. James is going to talk to you a little bit about his experience with the Polsky Center. Take it away, James.
Thanks, Dan. I'm James Havelock. I come from Dallas, Texas, and my background is chemical engineering, and then I worked in the energy field as an engineer and then as an economist. And while in the energy field, I noticed that there were a lot of businesses and industrial services that were poorly run, had low quality, and basically stepped up and said, hey, I will buy one of those places and become an entrepreneur by acquiring a business and then leading it for a few years. So came on to entrepreneurship through acquisition or search funds, and quickly started researching what are the business schools that make ETA a priority. And what came up was Chicago Booth, and more specifically was the Polsky Center. I found YouTube videos online where they were walking through what is entrepreneurship through acquisition, how does a person go through that process. So when I applied to Booth, what I was going all in on was ETA. And as soon as I got here, got involved with the Polsky Center, met EIR Alex Hodgkin, who made introductions and then helped me secure an ETA internship during the quarter. Then had different mentorship sessions with Tim Kelly, who taught me a lot about what it means to be a leader, how to be empathetic, and how to lead with values. Favorite Polsky events, the ETA conference. As Dan mentioned, this is the largest entrepreneurship through acquisition conference that takes place in the world, and it's here at Chicago Booth. This year I'm a co-chair, so in 2 weeks I'll be leading that conference as we have another few hundred individuals who are learning what it's like to search and buy a company. So finally, why Booth? The amount of resources that Polsky Center has that are ETA specific or private equity or entrepreneurship experience specific are incredible. A lot of the things that Dan mentioned, the collaboratorium, the PE conference, the PE lab, and NVC are all things that I've been able to take advantage of, which have kind of fully solidified me as a leader and as someone prepared to make an impact once I leave Chicago Booth.
Thanks so much, everybody. I'm going to turn it back over to Tali, I think, and she's going to take you the rest of the way.
Sure, Dan, thanks so much. That was a great presentation, Polsky. Thank you. We're going to do Q&A at the end, and I will turn it over to Carolyn Grossman, the Executive Director of the Rustandy Center.
Hi, everyone. It's great to be here. I'm Carolyn Grossman. I'm the Executive Director of Chicago Booth's Rustandy Center for Social Sector Innovation. And I'm just going to start actually by introducing myself and talking about why I love First Day and why I'm so excited about it. I myself am a Booth alum. I graduated in the class of 2003. And I remember coming out to Chicago for First Day. I was in round 2, so I wasn't here till April. And I know you're on Zoom. We didn't have that. But nonetheless, it just made such an impression on me. And it was the reason I came to Booth. And I had been a teacher. I had worked in nonprofit. I had worked at a social enterprise startup and knew that I wanted to come to Booth to learn business fundamentals, have a discipline-based business education, and be positioned to have an impact on the world around me, on the planet's most challenging questions and problems. And came to Booth. I was a student leader at Net Impact, the student group that focuses on social impact, and really championed during my time here more attention to social impact at Booth. And it's just extraordinary to be back here at the helm of the center that does this work. So I really look forward to getting to know you over your time here at, should Booth be the place that you make your way. I'm also an adjunct assistant professor of strategy at Booth, so might also see you in my classes. So the Rustandy Center is the social impact hub for people committed to tackling complex social and environmental problems. We host events, hands-on learning opportunities, support innovative courses, and pursue academic research in social sector questions. We are a resource for Booth students, which is of course what you're thinking about primarily, but also for Booth alumni, faculty, business and nonprofit leaders, nonprofit board members, social entrepreneurs, really anyone committed to making our world more equitable and sustainable. And we can help you explore ways to make an impact. There's so many different ways that you can use your skills and harness your talents for good in the world. And we're here to be part of that journey. That can include a future career in impact investing, in sustainability, doing pro bono consulting work, serving on a nonprofit board, being a social entrepreneur, and much, much more. So moving on, the center is led by myself, a fantastic team. You already met Tali, and two faculty co-directors, Marianne Bertrand and Rob Gertner, who also teach here and some terrific courses here at Booth. In the past year, we've reimagined how we support students across our three main programming areas, and we've updated our programs and created new ones to meet the moment. But our core has not changed. And we really start by meeting you if you're interested in social entrepreneurship and impact investing, you want to create a new venture that can have impact, or you want to be part of the engine that funds social innovation via the Edwardson Social Entrepreneurship Program. This includes the Social New Venture Challenge, the impact investing programs, and more. So just backing up a second, the other two buckets of work that we do, if we go back to the prior slide, also include providing experiential learning to support career exploration into social sector questions, and then finally finding meaningful skills-based volunteer opportunities. So most students find that they are interested in who are interested in social impact are interested in one or more of these buckets, but they continuously evolve. So we are very open to meeting you and evolving with you. So as we move on, I'd like to talk about the Edwardson Social Entrepreneurship Program, which is a part of the powerful entrepreneurship support system that you just heard Dan talk so thoroughly about at the University of Chicago, that provides the resources that startups need to succeed. And we're the launch pad for the next generation of game-changing social entrepreneurs, their ventures, and the people who fund them. And the flagship event programs here, the Social New Venture Challenge, the Tarson Social Venture Fellowship, and the Steve Tarson Impact Investing Fund. So moving on to the next slide, we also support innovative courses in social impact. We do these we will do these in person. We will do these on Zoom. These are some terrific second-year students having a great conversation about a sustainability project in my class last year. And there are too many courses here to list in social sector questions, but there's really a great range, and we're happy to take questions about these in the Q&A. One of the things that is additionally powerful about what the center brings to students is a slate of executives and residents to be part of your journey. So the staff of the Rustandy Center is here to talk with you and work with you along your social impact journey, but so are our social sector executives and residents. And they include Julia Stash, the former president and CEO of the MacArthur Foundation, who, if you're interested in work at philanthropy, many students say, I'm interested in finding out more about the Gates Foundation, MacArthur, Rockefeller Foundation. Julia can do meetings with you and sit down and talk with you about your objectives and plans. Same on impact investing. Priya Parrish, an alum, is a partner at Impact Engine, a Chicago-based impact investing fund. And in addition to doing that and teaching the impact investing course, she's also here to be part of your journey on that front, as is Dory McWhorter, who's a nonprofit in Chicago, is just one of the recipients of the big philanthropic gift from Mackenzie Scott, and was on the front page of the New York Times talking about how she's using those funds to advance good, and again is here to be part of our programs and part of your journey. And what we like so much about this and this year in particular is that this works so just fantastically in a virtual environment as well as a live one. So one thing that students ask us about frequently, and I'll go on to the next slide, is our engagement with nonprofits and how to use business skills to give back. So at Booth, certainly for those interested in volunteering, there are a number of opportunities. There's always work. We just organized a drive to collect items for people in need, a Cradles to Crayons drive, or tutoring, always a lot of terrific volunteer opportunities in the community. But where the Rustandy Center steps in is to help create opportunities that help you use your business skills to have an impact in the communities around you. So new this year, the Rustandy Challenge is a community-based initiative in which Booth students and community partners work together to research, design, and execute a project that will bring an idea, so an opportunity from idea to action. The Net Impact Board Fellows matches Booth students with nonprofits to serve as non-voting members of their board of directors and do a project. And our onboard conference brings nonprofit board leaders together with students and alumni to learn about trends in nonprofit board service, because this is just a phenomenal way to channel a business toolkit into the nonprofit space. So we have some terrific events coming up this spring, and we'd love to have you at them. You're most welcome to join. But before I get to that, sorry, I also just want to take you through some of the research that the center supports. Always informing our programs is academic research that our faculty are doing. So Booth Professor Marianne Bertrand has been conducting research along with a lab at the University of Chicago on the impact of COVID-19 on households and small businesses. We have faculty working to collect data on impact investing, along with HBS and Wharton, to really create a data set that will help the field understand impact in the space. So moving forward, I just want to show you some, as I mentioned, some of these events coming up this spring. We'd love to have you at our next Innovating for Social Equity event. We're doing a series that's been examining the role of the business community in addressing economic and racial inequities, really asking the question of, there has been so much energy thus far focused on social inequity and racial inequity in our society. Why is there still so much more progress needed? And so this event is coming up later this month. We have a terrific event next month with alum and founder of the Lake Tanganyika Floating Health Clinic to discuss how they've developed new approaches to deliver medical supplies in the DRC. And some events on board service coming up in April and May. So lastly, I just wanted to put some names and faces behind our team who are doing this terrific work. These are folks you'll meet when you ask questions about our programs. We're all here to be part of your social impact journey. And I want to now turn it over to a couple of current Booth students who've participated in social impact programming at Booth. So first, Sophia, would love to have you talk about your experience with sustainability programming here at Booth.
Awesome, thanks, Carolyn. So I am a second-year student at Booth and have been super passionate about sustainability the whole time I've been here, and have been really impressed with the resources that Rustandy has had for students interested in sustainability. And just as a little bit of background, before coming to Booth, I worked as a sustainability strategy consultant at Accenture, and I kind of knew coming in that I want to take full advantage of some of the offerings that Rustandy Center had. And one of the things that I'm most grateful for is that this year was the first year that we've had a business and sustainability club that me and my fellow co-chairs founded. And the Rustandy Center was amazingly helpful in helping us get that off the ground through resources, through supporting us with student life services, and just making sure that we really had everything we needed to make sure that we could get a club together of students that are really focused on either entering a career in sustainability or just learning more about how sustainability kind of fits with the intersect of business. And then also people that just wanted to meet and socialize and have fun around this topic. And then working with the Rustandy Center, I've had the opportunity to take awesome courses. Caroline mentioned some of them. The corporate social responsibility practicum was last year, all focused on helping a company become more sustainable. It was really interesting to kind of read cases about sustainability in business, which you don't always get in some of the other classes. And also just kind of taking classes like social sector strategy and structure, where I learned how nonprofits are actually structured, which sounds kind of intuitive, but I learned so much more than I thought was there, and it was a really valuable class for me. The Rustandy Center also puts on a series called Perspectives in Sustainability, where they get awesome speakers to come in and talk about how sustainability works in their companies. And then you're able to speak with the leaders, network, and just really learn kind of how sustainability works in practice. And then one of the things that I'm most grateful for from the Rustandy Center is I was actually in the unfortunate position where my internship was canceled due to COVID. And through the help of professors like Carolyn Grossman and the Rustandy Center, I was able to, in a really short time frame, through their support and their network, find another awesome internship that was focused on business and sustainability, and was actually ended up being a perfect fit. So they were really there to support students during the pandemic, when things were a little bit shaky internship-wise. And then lastly, just as a co-chair of the Business and Sustainability Club and co-chair of the Net Impact Club, Rustandy is just always there to help get really great speakers. They're definitely there to, help collaborate on events and make sure that the students who are interested in these areas are fully supported, and can get everything that they want out of their 2 years at Booth in this area.
Thanks, Sophia. Really appreciate it. And it's nice to see you, as always. So we now wanted to introduce you to Griffin Korn, who's going to give a perspective on what it's like to be a Net Impact Board Fellow. So Griffin, over to you.
Great. Thanks, Carolyn. And thanks, everybody, for attending today. And congratulations again on your admittance. My name is Griffin Korn. Prior to Booth, I worked in asset management for Dimensional Fund Advisors. I was in equity research there. And when I came to Booth, there were three things that were really important to me. One, I knew I wanted to lean into the academic, data-driven approach to problem solving that's so important to the Chicago Booth School of Business, but also to the University of Chicago as a whole. I was really excited, as I'm sure all of you are, to get to know my classmates, to have the opportunity to collaborate with them and learn from them. But I also knew that I was coming to a new community, and it was really important to me to take advantage of the resources of the university and the Rustandy Center in particular, to get involved in the community here in Chicago, where I was going to live, work, and study for the next 2+ years. So I applied for the Board Fellows program at the end of the autumn quarter in my first year, and I was fortunate to be accepted and then matched with an organization called SAPRI, the South Asian American Policy and Research Institute. I felt really fortunate because Board Fellows sort of listened to what I was interested in. I wanted to be part of an organization that was helping a community deal with some civic issues. I also wanted to be part of an organization that used data in its approach to kind of tackling some of these issues. So SAPRI is a data-driven organization that uses research to understand issues facing the South Asian American community in Chicago and more broadly in the United States. And through those insights from research, that informs policy advocacy and civic engagement work within the South Asian American community. So alongside another Booth student, I've had the opportunity to take a non-voting seat on the board of SAPRI, to meet with the director of the board and the executive director of the organization on a weekly or bi-weekly basis, and really understand the challenges that face nonprofits in Chicago, especially one of the size of SAPRI, and to help them think about strategic ways they can approach some of their biggest issues, which is fostering engagement, raising funds. And so alongside, like I said, a classmate here at Booth, we've been helping them kind of think about some strategic ways they can approach those problems. And the Rustandy Center has been incredibly important to helping us be equipped and prepared to go into those meetings. They organize meetings with alums from Booth who are now in social impact careers. And so we leverage those alums in coaching sessions to help us think about ways we can foster buy-in from the board and understand really what types of issues the board is facing that maybe we haven't considered. So I would definitely encourage anyone coming to Booth who is interested in nonprofit board service, take advantage of the world-class Rustandy Center. It's right here. It makes it really easy to get involved. and to learn things and put on a new lens about nonprofit service that you might not have considered before you came to Booth.
Great. Thank you both.
Thank you so much to our speakers today. I invite our students and Dan and Carolyn, please turn your cameras on. We have a lot of great questions in the Q&A. It's not too late. If you have questions you'd like to see answered, please enter them. You know, for the first question, I'd love to open it up. What opportunities are there for career switchers who are interested in getting into private equity, venture capital, and impact investing? Does anyone want to take that question, or should I assign it?
I can certainly talk about private equity.
Thanks, Matt.
So my background was in private equity, so I'm not a career switcher myself, but have worked with a number of people and have a number of friends that have done it. I think one of the toughest things about getting into private equity is that they're very small firms often that don't have a lot of resources to train people. So a really important thing for people that are looking to switch careers into private equity is getting, what I'll call reps in private equity. So, anything that kind of gets you up to speed on how a private equity firm runs, what a deal process looks like, and just kind of the blocking and tackling of the job that, a lot of people just don't want to spend the time to train you on, or just don't have the ability to train you on. So I think there's a couple of really good things that the Polsky Center offers. One is the private equity case competition, where you're able to basically pitch a leverage buyout of a public company to a panel of judges who are, generally private equity professionals in the Chicagoland area, so people that actually work at firms. So you get a really good feel for, what an investment committee is like, and kind of what the steps are to take to be able to do that. Another really good resource is the private equity lab, where it's part class, part internship during the school year, where you'll actually work part-time with a firm for 8 to 10 weeks, a couple of days a week. Some people go in more if they're really looking to get a bigger experience. And then that's in conjunction with a class taught by Professor Chris McGowan, who used to be a partner at Madison Dearborn, now runs his own firm. So there's a lot of things like that that are very helpful. The private equity group, which I'm a co-chair of, also does things like, lunch and learns about modeling and presentation building that are very helpful resources for somebody looking to get into private equity for the first time. If there's any more specific questions, happy to provide more information.
I'll also add to Matt's point. On the PEVC lab, we've also had students who have done their internships at impact investing firms. So that's a great opportunity to take advantage of that structure through the Polsky Center if you're looking at an impact fund. We also offer the impact investing class. Booth offers the impact investing class, which is supported through the Rustandy Center, as well as a student managed impact investment fund. So those are a couple of opportunities on the impact investing side. We've had a few questions come in about sustainability, and there are questions, Sophia, what courses should people take if they're interested in sustainability, as well as questions about the Business and Sustainability Club. Do you want to speak to that a little?
I can start with a couple of the courses that I've taken. The Corporate Social Responsibility Practicum, taught by Professor Caroline Grossman, was definitely one of my favorite classes I've taken at Booth. It's split up kind of into two parts, where one part is a lecture series where Professor Grossman got really amazing speakers to come, so leaders of sustainable organizations and companies that really have embedded sustainability into their value system, and kind of understand how sustainability does fit into business and how you can start thinking about even if you're at a company that's not focused on sustainability, how sustainable values can start to actually improve business metrics, and kind of how to also talk about that in a way that's a little bit more persuasive, especially in some corporations, some industries, sustainability might not be seen as much of a priority, but kind of learning how to overcome some of that and learn how to understand what sustainability tactics have worked and haven't worked. And then the other side of that is that we were paired up with a company, which was Anheuser-Busch, for the year that I was in the class. And that was awesome because we worked with really high-level people in Anheuser-Busch's sustainability program. And we had a lab class where we were all working on a project to help them create a more sustainable business plan, where we talked to executives, we worked with our teams, And at the end, we had a big presentation with the company. And that was just a really great way where if you are a career switcher and you don't have experience in sustainability, you were able to really put yourself in the shoes of a sustainability strategist and try and figure out how you could make a company more sustainable and then present it to executives that were actually, cared and were curious about what Booth students had to say. So it really was good for learning about how corporate sustainability works, but then also how to talk about it to executives at an existing company. So that was awesome. I highly recommend it. And then also social strategy or social sector strategy and structure was really helpful for me because and the kind of sustainability can be corporate or nonprofit. And I really didn't understand the nonprofit world very much. So that was just a really good education for people coming from a business background, just want to understand the social sector a little bit more and how it's created. And then on top of that, I would just definitely recommend some leadership classes because having worked in sustainability before, I think that it can be really easy to be seen as fringe when in reality, sustainability is becoming a more and more important part of business. Kind of learning how to, convince people and talk to people and get people more interested in sustainability is a real skill. So I would definitely recommend that. And then the Business and Sustainability Club, I'll talk about that really quickly. That's probably been my bright spot of Booths, my favorite thing that I've done. We had great support from the Rustandy Center and we're still getting great support from them. But that club is really focused on three things: career, education, and social. So what we found is that, sustainability jobs can still be kind of sparse. And a lot of people that want to work in sustainability are career switchers. So on the career aspect, we're really trying to make sure that we, give people the tools that they need when they walk into an interview for a sustainability job. They know what to talk about, they know what to say, and they're prepared for the interview. So we do Sustainability 101, just general sustainability conversations. And then we also do events that are by sector. So we'll do sustainability in tech, sustainability in real estate, sustainability in CPGs, so that people feel really comfortable building up that knowledge and preparing for interviews in this space. And then the education side, that has to do a lot with speakers, which is where the Rustandy Center has been super helpful. So putting together speaker events, and on Zoom, it's been really great because we can get some really interesting speakers. So that might actually be something that carries over next year still. But they've been super helpful. And so we try and get people from large companies or nonprofits to come in and talk about sustainability. Right now we're planning an event with HBS where we're doing a sustainable series panel. So another benefit of Zoom Life is that we are able to collaborate with other business schools more easily. And right now we're putting together the panels for that. And then the social side, again, we just want to have some fun, engage with people that are interested in sustainability. And also it is a smaller community for people that are interested in the space. So we just want to make sure that everyone has the opportunity to socialize with classmates that are equally as interested and kind of learn from each other. But that's kind of the crux of the club. And we're hoping that the new co-chairs have a lot of fun with it next year too.
Sophia, thank you. That was an amazing overview of the ways students can get involved in sustainability while they're at Booth. And I also want to amplify that the Polsky and the Rustandy Center work very closely and help support a number of student groups. And we really let the Booth students drive what you're trying to achieve and see how we can leverage our networks, the professors who teach in these disciplines to connect you and advance what you as students are hoping to achieve. At Booth, we're not afraid to shy away from tough questions. So I want to call out this one in the chat. For folks still deciding between Booth and other programs that are also strong for innovation or impact, what makes Booth the best place to go?
Do you want a student's perspective or?
No, Carolyn, take it away.
Yeah, I'm going to take it away. If you're asking that question, you probably have a bunch of great choices, and that's a wonderful position to be in. Booth's ecosystem and scale is extraordinary, and the fact that Rustandy and Polsky's social entrepreneurship programs, and entrepreneurship program, of course, is part of the entire University of Chicago, allows our MBA students to engage more broadly with that entire innovation ecosystem here in the city. and it's a really vibrant place for that. So I think that that's one of the things that sets Booth apart. I think another is that the size, this is, you know, something I've thought about a lot, that the size of Booth is terrific and robust, and it means that you really are more likely to get a critical mass of students interested in anything. And so Sophia's example of a sustainability club, the Net Impact Club, board fellows, just with the class of 580 plus, you've got a lot of people interested in any one thing, whether that's PE, impact investing, VC. And I think that that really creates a lot of vibrancy.
Yeah, I would agree with that, Carolyn. I also think the fact that we span the whole university can't be undersold. I think most business schools, there's an entrepreneurial center housed within the business school. And as you all know, there tends to be a lot of siloing in academia. And by having the Polsky Center and Rustandy stretch across the entire university ecosystem, you get the benefit of all those resources. And that means that you learn from people and share experiences with people whose background may be nothing like yours, whose interests may be adjacent to yours, but disparate from yours. And so that broad community has a real meaningful place in the experience for students. And we stretch beyond that, beyond the sort of four walls of the university into the community on the south and southwest side of Chicago as well. So there's just a lot of rich content available. I like the fact that the students are nodding. That's really positive reinforcement there. Thanks, guys.
I'm going to say one more thing to this, Tali, because I care so deeply about it based on the fact that I have been at it for almost 20 years, I must say, even though I've only been at Rustandy more recently, which is that having an entrepreneurship and a social impact center is table stakes. You're going to see one at each school. You're considering what you want to do is just peel back the onion and look at the breadth and depth.
Jake, did you have a thought on that?
Yeah, I was going to echo a lot of the things that have been said. Just the amount of access for New Venture Challenge and with mentors, professors, coursework where first years and second years are creating teams, joining teams, applying, and then going through very detailed pitches and then actually having to execute over the course of 10 weeks. Additionally, we mentioned the collaboratorium earlier. I work with UChicago, the Med Center, on a patient engagement platform that we are building so that they can better engage their patients. So that's me working with people from both the med school and the hospital system. Additionally, classes like Lab to Launch, where we are taking commercializing science, working with the PME, so the biomedical or molecular engineering program. And in that class, I'm taking cancer diagnostics and treatment solutions from the lab bench to then commercialize and make an impact on the world. So, and that's a small list. That's just some of the things that I'm touching. There are many, many more that the men and women on this call touch day to day.
James, thank you. And you also did me a favor by answering the first question in our chat, which is around how students meet with people outside of structured Polsky activities. I will say that part of Polsky structured activities are about making sure business school students and Polsky and the Rustandy Center participates in these programs, that Booth students have the opportunity to meet with researchers and scientists and students in other graduate school programs who have their own questions they're trying to solve, and combine that brain power into a potential new venture. So James, thank you. I'd like to talk a little bit about board fellows, in no small part because Lauren Smith to put her name into the chat. So Lauren, thank you. Griffin, I don't know if you saw some of those questions, but can you tell us a little bit, like, how do you match interests? Is it competitive? Just more of some of the details, the meat around board fellows.
Yeah, thanks, Tali. Those are good questions. And I was asking those same questions myself actually last fall when I was coming into the program. So there's a lot of questions about how competitive board fellows is to get into. I don't have the full statistics on that, but I can give you some numbers about what it looks like for my class. So We had 31 nonprofit partners participating in the Board Fellows program through the Rustandy Center this past year. So how competitive it is to get in might be a little bit of a function of how much interest you have from the nonprofit community in Chicago for your given year. So like I said, there was 31 nonprofit partners in our pool this year, and that translated to about 60, a few more than 60 student participants. So we're all either boothies or hopefully soon to be boothies, and we can do the math there. That's maybe about 10% of your class. Of course, not everyone is going to apply to get into the program, so I'm not exactly sure what the final competitive number looks like there. But it's something you have to apply for. And through the application process, I think a lot of what's happening is the Board Fellows program sponsors are trying to understand what interests and skills you are bringing to the Board Fellows program and what interests and skills the nonprofit partners need. And that's kind of how the matching process happens. So for me, it was really important to be involved in an organization. I think I previewed either doing some kind of policy advocacy or helping people in some way. And Board Fellows certainly takes that into account. There was another question about examples of some of the organizations we work with. Obviously, I shared SAPRI, the South Asian American Policy and Research Institute, but from some of the materials we shared with the class earlier this year, I can give some other examples. There is Pilot Light, which is a nonprofit that works to, I think it actually came through maybe there was some Polsky Center crossbreeding there, but Pilot Light, they put together low-cost lighting solutions for parts of the world that maybe otherwise don't have access to light. The Nature Conservancy, the YWCA here in Chicago, the Montessori School of Inglewood, Renaissance Local Social Services, which helps people experiencing homelessness find shelter. So there's a wide breadth of organizations across sort of the Chicago nonprofit ecosystem that are working with the Rustandy Center, and you can find a match for your interests, if you are interested in participating in Board Fellows.
Griffin, thank you. There are a lot of questions in the chat about what courses should I take. Several are related to PE. So I want to ask a two-part question. One, for students who are interested in recruiting for private equity, do you have recommendations of courses they might want to take in their first year? Or I might expand that to say, or activities, if it's not courses, that would be helpful from a recruiting perspective. But then I thought we could do a rapid fire with the students. If you have taken a social impact or entrepreneurship course at Booth, which one was your favorite? So let's start with the PE course question in recruiting.
Yeah, I can talk a little bit about private equity coursework. So if you have prior private equity experience, I'm not sure any of these classes that are geared toward private equity is going to be, anything really groundbreaking. It's probably building on a lot of the stuff you did in your job, which is good. They're taught by great professors. The lab's taught by Professor McGowan, and entrepreneurial finance and private equity is taught by Professor Kaplan. So I'd highly recommend taking those classes. I think, something that I maybe didn't appreciate as much coming to Booth that now I think has been great is just how flexible Booth's curriculum is. So you can take a lot of different classes and things that interest you that you may not on its face think tied to private equity, but I think there's a lot of classes that will be useful in your job, whether it's managing downward and managing junior associates when you go back into private equity, or just how to make decisions. I mean, I've taken some interesting classes around behavioral economics and how people make decisions in ways that you might be biased. So I think the flexible curriculum just allows you to take anything that interests you, even if it doesn't directly relate to private equity. In terms of people that are trying to break into private equity, I think there's certainly a lot of classes from an accounting standpoint, that may help you get up to speed in terms of modeling and things like that, which will be kind of baseline skills for getting into private equity. And then I would obviously very highly recommend taking, anything that is really directly related to private equity, like the lab or Professor Kaplan classes the second year. I don't know, James, if you have anything that you would add on to that.
Yeah, I'd echo that. Again, I was looking into private equity, took the PEVC lab, and was able to spend 2 full days a week at a fund and begin to understand what actually goes into being a private equity associate. And then as I had more and more conversations with people as I was interviewing in private equity, was able to reference the lab. And that was a ton of credibility of, oh, James has been tested and succeeded. Therefore, we now have the trust that he can definitely do it.
Thanks. Sophia, we won't make you choose the CSR practicum as your favorite course, a social impact course that you've taken at Booth, but is there another course you want to highlight, or is that the hit it out?
And that was definitely my favorite, and highly recommend it to anyone interested in sustainability and social impact. But I'll also say I'm currently enrolled in impact investing, which is an area that I really didn't know that much about. And so that has been a great class just for, you know, someone interested in sustainability. You're not sure what you want to go into career-wise. That's just a great eye-opener to kind of another world of investing and another way to get involved with sustainability and business at the same time.
Griffin, what about you?
Yeah, so this might sound like it's not necessarily related to the Rustandy Center's mission, but New Venture Strategy with Professor James Schrager, that has been an incredibly important and useful class for any type of new venture, which is probably a broader definition than you might at first think. I think a lot of people just consider, oh, it's a startup, but any type of new product you want to launch, anytime you're doing something new, that class equips you with a new set of frameworks and a new set of tools to approach making those decisions. And so my my fellow classmate on SOPRI, we've been using a lot of the stuff we learned in Professor Schrager's class to sort of evaluate some of the new product that SOPRI wants to launch for its community. And so it's been really useful to have that class as we go into SOPRI as board fellows.
Griffin, that was great. And I think it's important to note that from a pedagogical standpoint, you know, are the social impact courses, the entrepreneurship courses that we offer are not meant to substitute for the fundamental disciplines. And so I think in the same way that Griffin, you were just talking about the entrepreneurship course that Professor Schrager taught and how you've seen that impact and social impact, or Matt, I think you were talking about some of the accounting courses that will help with modeling for private equity roles. I think it's really critical to see those intersections across Booth that help enrich our entrepreneurship and social impact offerings. I know we're going to start losing people here. So first, again, I want to thank our students and Dan and Carolyn for participating in this first day event. Chris, thank you as a co-chair for this program for your work on it. Tomorrow at 11:20, the Polsky Center and the Rustandy Center are going to host another session with an entrepreneurship panel. We're going to talk a lot more specifically about the New Venture Challenge, the Social New Venture Challenge, and programs that are really here to help you launch your business or to help you get involved with a new venture. So I hope that you will join us for that. It's 11:20 till, I should have known the end time. Let's call it 12:20-ish, 12:15. Chris, if you know the exact time, you can chime in. If you have any questions that weren't answered today, if you want to connect with the staff of the Polsky and the Rustandy Center, we're going to share out our contact information. 11:30 to 12:30. Thank you, Kat. We're going to share out our contact information. Please do not hesitate to reach out to us. We love connecting with students. We love helping you as you're deciding maybe what program to pursue and as you're thinking about your journey. So with that, again, congratulations. Enjoy the rest of first day and have a great day.